Guess what? I just got back from vacation. But I missed you. I've got a great video for you, so don't go nowhere, okay? You like this song? Cool, huh? Yes, I'll be right back.
Audio Jungle.
Hi there. How are you? I missed you. Did you miss me? Well, listen, I got me a little toy. Have you ever seen these little bolo bats? Anyway. Hi there. I'm so glad to see you today. So we are continuing our marital. Why did you get married? Did you get married? For real or for real? Well, I got married for real. And we're going to talk about the real in this segment, okay? Yes, but don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You know it's good caring is sharing. So if you care, then you ought to share, okay? Well, listen, like I said, I just got back from vacation. I feel refreshed. Do I look refreshed? I feel refreshed. It's just good to get away. Don't nobody want to just work. You got to get away. Okay, listen, what do you do when the fire goes out? You know your marriage goes into different phases. Look at my teeth. Oh, you want to know what I'm drinking? This is called Berry So Berry, and it's berry. It's very, very, very berry. But anyway, listen, what do you do when the fire goes out in your marriage? Think about it. In the beginning, you all excited, and you are excited about this new thing that you've welcomed into your life called marriage. What is this monster? What is this animal? What is this new lifestyle? So there is a lot of excitement that comes with that. I believe that marriage goes into phases. Now remember, I said Boss Lady is going to be very candid with you, and I'm going to let you in to take a closer look at my marriage. And I believe that when you share your story, you not only help yourself, but you also help other people. I truly believe that when you go through things, it's not really for you. It's for the next person that you can help. So your marriage goes through these different phases. Initially, it's filled with excitement. You're just excited, but you're also scared. You're also wondering. You got a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainties. And so there's just a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, right? Yeah. So I believe the first phase is excitement, the newness of it, and then after so many years, it starts to settle, right? But in that settling, there is quite a bit of turbulence, right? Quite a bit of turbulence, and you're still trying to figure out, do I really want this? You go through that a lot. And then you're in for home stretch. What is home stretch? Home stretch is like, yeah, we're just in it. I ain't going nowhere. Well, I'm gonna go somewhere for. I've been married to him for all these years. Where I'm going? I ain't going nowhere. Even if he do the most, I probably ain't going nowhere. But that's relative, because I've known people be married for 40 years and get a divorce. What? Listen, okay. But yeah, in the beginning, so you're really excited about your new relationship, and you don't know what it's going to bring, and there's some anticipations and a lot of fear, okay? But what do you do when the fire goes out? Let's talk about that. I remember when I was growing up, remember I told you boss lady is old school, old school, old school. That's who I am, old school. I just like tradition. But when I was growing up in Fifth Ward, there was a song that used to play in my home called Keep the Home Fire Burning. And I didn't really understand what that was. How was I supposed to understand? Me was just a kid. I turn the light on. Me was just a kid. But now that I'm mature, I understand what the importance of the lyrics of that song really meant. You'll have to keep the home fire burning. And we're going to pull this guy apart. Now, I really believe that, like I said, your marriage will go through phases. You have to learn how to be creative. Be creative with your relationship. Think outside the box. Do some research. And pair yourself with other couples. Have you ever paired yourself? I got a little perspiration on my nose. I was sweating a minute ago. But do you pair yourself with other couples? You might want to think about that. Date nights, things like that. These are just some things that you could do to keep the home fire burning. Because remember, the excitement in your relationship can and will die. It's up to you to make certain that the freshness in your relationship maintains its position. You don't ever want to get so lackadaisical that it's like, oh, yeah, and we tend to do that because we've been in it for so long, right? But I still believe, case in point, I remember years ago, I believe I was at Dave & Buster's doing something. I saw a couple. They had to be in their 70s. Do you know they were outside dancing like they were on the ballroom floor? And I looked at them, I was like, wow. I mean, they caught a lot of people's attention. Do you know they were still in love? You could tell the fragrance of their relationship was like a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And I thought, wow, that is so amazing. They were just outside, just ballroom dancing in a parking lot. Can you imagine? That is what I mean by keeping the freshness in your relationship. You know how a piece of bread goes stale? Your marriage can go stale too and have mold spots on it. The mold spot of lack of communication, the mold spot of lack of intimacy, the mold spot of lack of disrespect. All of these are mold spots that can get into your relationship if you're not careful. So you have to constantly be creative. Now, let's talk about some things that can help you keep the freshness in your relationship going. Yeah, what about date night? Have you ever thought about date night? Let me tell you something Big Daddy and I did years ago. This is so funny. And my mom played along. My little girl was like 6 years old. We staged a date night. And we acted as though we had never met, right? He came to the front door, rang the doorbell. I introduced him to my mom. And we acted like we didn't even know each other. We had been married for 8 years and we staged a date night. That was so things like that. You have to be creative in your relationship. Do things that are out of the ordinary. Now, I gotta go there because we just in a weird place. Guys, your marriage is sacred. When I say be creative with your relationship, keep it clean. Don't be doing these 3 and 4-somes and stuff like that. Y'all going to hell. Anyway, don't be doing that kind of stuff because you're just asking for it. If you sow to the wind, you're going to weep a doggone whirlwind. Trust me on that. Listen, keep your marriage sacred. Your marriage is sacred. It is a present, should be, unto the Lord. And you want to keep it that way. Keep these outside partners out of your relationship. But you see, when the fire goes out, that's the kind of stuff that you want to welcome in. So when I say be creative in your relationship, don't take that the wrong way. Don't buy into the silliness that this society is trying to feed you. You understand me? Don't do that. Anyway. Now, we talked about freshness. Keep your relationship fresh. Don't let it go stale, because it will. I saw something years ago as my kids started growing. You see, when the kids are there, you got something to talk about. You got something to dissect and pull apart and work out and figure it out. But what happens when those kids are gone and grown? You could be living with a total stranger. You know why? Because you never took time to get to know your spouse. You didn't create date night. You didn't, serve dinner in just an apron. One of my friends told me, she said, girl, serve him dinner in just an apron and heels. Anyway, but you have to do things to keep the home fire burning, like Lattimore said many, many years ago. Okay? So good. Be willing to think outside the box and do things that are out of the ordinary. Now, if your spouse wants to try something different, or try a different restaurant, try a different vacation spot, be willing to do that. The giving and receiving, the compromise, the 50-50, whatever, you have to be willing to do that. Case in point, I have my favorite restaurants that I like. But one time on a weekend getaway, my husband wanted to try this hole in the wall. And I thought, I just don't want to go there. Because I'm kind of slightly bougie, just a little bit. I like fine hotels and room service. And my husband is kind of the opposite, and that's why it works. But he wanted to try this little restaurant that was not very far from the hotel. Do you know I loved it? It was not something that I would do on the ordinary, but because I was willing to meet him on his turf, to do something unselfishly, remember that word, we've talked about that word, to be unselfish and do something that he wanted to do, I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I would actually come here again. The food was good, and it was not fancy at all. I don't even think they wrapped their silverware in napkins. It was just so that down to earth, but I enjoyed it. But my point is, listen, be willing. Don't be so caught up into your desires that you're not willing to lay them aside to do something that your spouse wants to do. You're trying to keep the fire burning in your relationship. Yes. Now, don't do it for yourself. Do it for your spouse. Let them know that, listen, I'm into what you're into too. I may not like it as much as you do, but I'm into, what I started doing? When I first got married, I just did not understand, why do men love sports? I just didn't get that. I was like, what's the big deal? But you know what I decided to do? I decided to sit down and watch a game with my husband. Do you know I enjoyed it? I enjoyed doing something that he wanted to do for a change. Because you know what? It ain't about you. And it ain't about him or her. It's about us making this thing work, working it out. That's really what it's about. Now, let me give you, before my final thoughts, can I give you a little task? And I want you to let me know how it worked, okay? Now, I want you to get a Post-it note. Kid and I did this a while back. And I said, babe, do me a favor. Write down 10 things that I could do for you. And I'm going to write down 10 things that you can do for me, right? Why did I do that? Because I wanted to make sure that I was shifting the attention off of my needs and looking at his needs and embracing his needs and fulfilling those needs, managing those needs, being a steward over those needs. Oh, that'll preach right there. Listen, you want to be careful with your spouse's needs and desires. You want to be sure that you're fulfilling it. Guys, this is how you keep the fire burning in your relationship. Because I'm telling you, that guy gonna go from here to home stretch, right? That's what's gonna happen in your relationship. You know, clapping and dancing and carrying on and having a good time. And then that guy's gonna settle, and then you're gonna go, okay, I think I'm in this to win this. Where I'm going, I ain't going nowhere. Now, my final thoughts. Put your brakes on right now. Do not take your spouse for granted. Don't do that. Do not take your spouse for granted. If your spouse communicates that there's something that he needs or she needs or that she wants or whatever the case is, I'm talking the men and the women, okay? If your spouse communicates something that they need, make sure you carry that guy out. Here's why. If you want, somebody else will. There are people all over the world wishing they had what you have. You better recognize. You can get careless if you want to. Johnny Taylor wrote this song and said, we getting careless with our love. Old school. We getting careless with our love. We're not managing this guy like we should. And what was that song really saying? I've got some needs that you're not fulfilling, and you just keep on. Just keep it up. You're going to look up and I won't be there. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want the offenders to creep into your relationship and start eating away at the seams. You don't want that to happen, okay? So I want you to manage, like I said earlier, be a steward and be mindful of what your spouse's needs and desires are. And make sure that you're found carrying those out. Because if you don't, somebody else will. See, boss lady knows that she has a good man. I know I have a good man. But check this out. That brother knows he got a good wife. Yeah, he knows. Oh, yeah, he knows. He knows what he married. And so we try to make sure that we're just like managing each other very, very well. Because just like I know, there is a woman out there that wish she had a man like mine. There is a man out there that wish he had a woman just like me. Don't get it twisted, and don't you dare be deceived. You get me? You got me? Listen, keep the fire burning in your relationship, right? Quality time. What does boss lady like for quality time and keeping the fire? How do I do that? Well, listen, I require weekend getaways. Get your stuff ready. In fact, you ain't even got to get it ready. I'll get it ready for you. And you meet me at, let's say, the Four Seasons Hotel. Not quite. It's too expensive. Meet me at the Hilton Anatole. Your bags are already packed, right? Stealing time. Taking that time. Being aggressive because you sense the need that we need to get away. We need to spend some quality time with one another. Okay, will that work? All right. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining me. Don't let the fire go out in your relationship. Keep that guy fresh. And don't let the spots of mold get on your relationship. Okay? All right. We'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day. Mwah! We love you guys.